start off 2026 with From the Desk to the Editor. A lot has happened since the last we spoke, and we moved into a new year, and we've got all kinds of things that are going on. We are going to pursue open mic for this session. Love to hear from you if you have questions, thoughts, or comments. There are a lot of things happening that affect all of us, from new laws to a crazy president to healthcare crisis and now child care. And so there is a great deal going on, and there's a question of what are we going to do about it. You may call us at 858-251-6111, or you may join us online at godradio1.com. And Dr. Leonard Thompson is here as a co-host, and he will be answering your calls if you have a question or comment. This is just a 1 hour program. It goes very fast, but we're excited about having the opportunity to start the year off with you and to be able to talk to you. So, Dr. Thompson.
Well, good afternoon, good evening, and thank you all for tuning in to From the Desk of the Editor. So excited to be with each and every one of you all today. Dr. Warren, I just want to jump right in, and I'm going to ask the question that they say is not so, but I want to know from you directly. Are we at war?
No, we're not at war, but we're in a very precarious situation that is going to impact all of us for generations to come. The question no longer so much is what is Trump doing as how long will the Congress, the Supreme Court, the Republicans, the people in his administration who are wise enough to know better, is just how far will they go? I think Trump is trying to replicate in America what Putin has done in Russia in terms of taking over. Putin wanted to either be readmitted to NATO, the North American Treaty Organization, or he wanted it destroyed, or he wanted to stop Ukraine from getting membership. And this action that Trump has taken, planning and talking about against Iceland, is a violation of Article 5 of the NATO alliance. And Article 5 says attack against one is an attack against all. And so we could very easily be put at war with our own friends, and therefore destroy the alliance, which would be right up Putin's alley in terms of what he wants to see as Trump tries to become the dictator in this hemisphere. And it is up to us, the American people, to stop this madness. And I think one of the ways we stop it is by taking actions against the people who are not acting according to the oaths that they took when they swore to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. That's the Republican Party in power. Every official who holds an appointed position that took an oath of office, they're in violation of that oath of office at this point. And so this is a very serious time. I could say more, but I'm going to wait. We got some program time. I don't want to unload the whole thing at one point.
Well, one of the things, the reason why I asked that is because, he wants to talk about what a great operation it was, but there were people that were actually hurt. Several people on the other side were killed, and I believe that we're still going to get a report that we have lost soldiers, although they don't report it right now.
Well, we had some injuries, and so we don't know what happened. We don't expect them to tell us, and that's just the way they do business. They did have to brief the Congress, which they did, but that doesn't mean that they didn't lie and just go through the motions in terms of the briefing. So we've got multiple issues going here in this case. I'm most concerned with the fact that, and I said it in my editorial this week, Trump took a page from a playbook that goes back as far as the Roman Empire. In the days of the Caesar in the Roman Empire, the Caesar could suspend the activities of the Senate by declaring martial law for 6 months based on having an enemy. And so Caesar always made sure he had an enemy to keep on extending that. And as long as he could do that martial law extension, then the Senate couldn't act against him in terms of his conduct. And so we've seen in this country situations where when domestic programs are bad, weak, and in danger, just like it was with Bush prior to 9/11, the moment we find an external enemy, all America's attention focuses on that. In this case, we were coming into the new year with the destruction of the Affordable Care Act. We were coming into this new year not having the SNAP program and the Epstein files showing that there are people who should be on trial that are being hidden by the sanitizing of what's being released, even after the Congress demanded that everything be released. All of these issues, which were front and center, have been pushed to the back burner by the Venezuela invasion.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is by design. So that's what I mean when I say the playbook. Trump always finds a way to deflect the attention. Now today, the attention is flexing back because we have this situation of an ICE agent killing a civilian in Minneapolis. It seems like Minnesota is a magnet for violence, from George Floyd to the young man killed by the police officer on a traffic stop to the guy who came there with the sniper rifle and they got him off and made him a hero, to the killing of the members of the legislature, and then the killing of the cop who the man who did it, posing as a cop, and now this. So we got all kinds of stuff coming out of Minnesota, in addition to the governor having just announced that he's not going to seek re-election because of some scandal that's brewing in terms of, I think, welfare fraud and efforts to make him a part of it. If we look closely at this president, he has done nothing in terms of an agenda addressing national ills.
Mm-hmm.
He's put a fool in charge of Health and Human Services. Vaccines have been suspended. Measles outbreaks are up. All kinds of health challenges are surfacing. CDC has been gutted. An emergency plan for dealing with disasters through FEMA has been messed with. It's just like the Office of Education transfer. It's like a systematic destruction of America as we know it. The ranking military officers have been fired, and so we are losing the institutional memory, which helps us so much in terms of conflict. And of course, at least 50 members of Congress have indicated that they're not going to seek re-election, so they're all running for the hills. And meanwhile, the American people keep looking at these daily polls and looking at the numbers. And the only reason Trump has any numbers at all is that the handful of conservative, fanatical white people voting for him have made the decision that racism is greater than democracy. And so they will hold their noses and do anything and allow him to do anything that will keep on deporting people, keep on identifying African countries as S-hole countries, and blocking people coming in. Another 7 countries have been put on the list. And so and they're happy because of the number of people that have been deported so far.
Yes, yeah, and one of the things that, the reason I was asking, I started off in Venezuela, is that, all I hear now is about oil. I don't hear very much about the drug trade or how they're going to stop that. I hear that it's about the oil. And here's the thing. If it was so dangerous in Venezuela, how are American companies going to go in there and be able to operate if it's so dangerous?
Well, that won't be a problem, Dr. Thompson, because you see, if you go back and look at Cuba, yeah, we own a lot of businesses in Cuba. We were doing great until Fidel took over, and he nationalized those businesses, which is something that is done whenever dictators take over and ignore whatever agreements Americans have. We helped build the infrastructure that was there in Venezuela. And so it's always been about the oil. I mean, when we look at what happened in Iraq over there, I always said it was about three causes: regular, premium, and high tests.
Hmm.
And so it's always about the oil. Right now, according to the latest figures released today, we're going to be acquiring 30 to 50 million barrels of Venezuela cruise daily, I guess, or at least what's coming. We've seized another oil tanker. This one was under a Russian flag. Um, Venezuela has the largest oil reserve in the world, and you can bet that Trump and the people that he's trying to put in place will get more out of that than the people of Venezuela will.
Yeah, and they said also that although they have the biggest oil reserve, is one of the most difficult oil places to distract the oil and actually get it to where we can use it and be in barrels and things of that nature.
Well, they're not extracting the number of barrels a day that they should be. I think they were only at like 60, 60,000 or 60 million barrels, and it should have been more. So I don't know in terms of what's going to happen there. The main thing is for us not to start getting so involved in the discussion. We know that from what Trump did with Venezuela, he probably has a plan to take over Panama, and he's probably using the focus on Greenland as a diversionary tactic to help people look at that while they go toward taking Panama. We built the Panama Canal. We gave it to the Panamanians. Trump and them are complaining about who is operating it, is being subcontracted these days, and we don't know. We say we don't want to wake up and see Russia or China controlling it. And so if we can take Venezuela, we can certainly take Panama. And
So
that's on the drawing board.
So, one of the things about it, I was having a conversation, and one of the things that Americans have not really experienced in many, many, many years is actually war that is actually hitting our shores. We've had some wars that might have happened way back when, but we have not seen war that actually hits our shore where we're actually being attacked. And being in a military city, I think that all the military here should be very concerned at this point that we're vulnerable and people are looking at us just as we're looking at them.
Well, we've always been vulnerable. If you look at if you see a picture of the White House and it's a backdrop and you see a man on a horse with his hat, that's Lafayette. And Lafayette, as a Frenchman,
Get closer to your mic.
Lafayette, as a Frenchman, played a major role in the War of 1812 in terms of helping America against the British. And that was the last time we really had it on our shores, when they burned part of the White House. And so that's an issue. I don't see that happening anytime soon. I don't see boots on the ground. There are only a couple of countries that have enough manpower: China, North Korea, Russia, to come. I don't think Russia can try based on the way they're being tied up trying to take Ukraine. So all China has to do is just sit back and watch us self-destruct, really. We could be drawn into a war with China because we have sworn that we would defend Taiwan. Taiwan is flexing their muscles toward independence. China is saying under no circumstances will independence be permitted. And so we're also threatening Iran at this point because of the unrest that's going on there and the protests. And the president is also letting Iran know that if necessary, he will take action against them, even though the protest doesn't involve us. It's their own country, their own people that are fighting. And now they're rattling their sabers, saying if that happens, then there'll be consequences, which is the worst thing you can say to this president, because this man is absolutely unhinged. And so I don't think he's going to waste no time talking. You know, historically, the Democrats try to buy off opposition, but the Republicans are always ready for a fight.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're getting a fight. Just like people looking at high grocery prices. I can't think of one Republican president we ever had other than Lincoln and the changeover with Roosevelt to Democrats because of Social Security and the promise to put a chicken in every pot. But we haven't had any president, uh, Republican presidents that didn't try to raise the money. I mean, Woodrow Wilson, Hoover, they all were disasters. So here we are. Again, we all at recess while, Nero playing the fiddle while Rome burns. And
My
America's beginning to burn.
my question to you, Dr. Warren, is simply this, and maybe it's just me, but I've never seen Congress and the Senate be so quiet, and the Supreme Court rubber stamping everything. I've never seen this before in my life, and my question is, what is it that Donald Trump has?
We don't know. We don't know. We know that part of his thing has been a threat against people's families, and so that they would threaten to kill people if they rose up against him. Supposedly, that's one of the reasons that MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, is stepping down this month because of threats and intimidation. So we just don't know. We don't know what it is that he has, but we do know that he's the poster child for the racists that want to stop the browning of America, the blackening of America, too many people coming in, the visas are being suspended, and I don't care what he does, white folks are not having babies in sufficient numbers to replenish the population. The birth rate is down among whites. It's up among Latinos, even more so than among African Americans or blacks. And so these are just some of the facts on the table.
All right, so can we go back to Minneapolis?
Sure.
Okay, so with Minneapolis, the governor has said he's not going to run, so that race is now open. We see that there's been an attack on child care in Democratic states only. California, we knew we were going to take that hit. But he has boots on the ground for the National Guard and everything else, saying he's going to make things better. But now all of a sudden we're just seeing that there's just a lot of violence, and it looks like it's going to get worse.
Oh, it will get worse. It will definitely get worse. If you watch the crowd in Minneapolis, you can see people are ready to go over the edge. And that's exactly what Trump wants. That's why the mayor of Minneapolis was warning people. He wants to push you to the point that you become lawless, and therefore he will then be justified in sending in more troops. He just sent 2,000 ICE agents to Minneapolis. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. And what do? They hit the ground shooting.
Yeah.
So we can expect more of this kind of madness.
And so with that being said, what is the impact? I'm thinking of Head Start in California. Will Head Start wind up closing their doors?
I don't know. We have
Okay.
no idea. We don't know if they got funding from other sources or what. And those are questions we're just going to have to wait and see what the answers are.
Yes, yes. And so, this moving forward, I'm just really just overwhelmed with the quietness, but yet we have somebody like not Marjorie Taylor Greene, but Crockett, who is running in Texas. Do we think she's going to be able to turn that position blue?
Well, we don't know. She's running for Senate. She's got some stiff opposition. She just as well run because I believe her district was impacted by the 5 seats in the gerrymandering that took place that Trump ordered the governor to do in an effort to try and maintain a Republican majority in the House going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, I would, what's his name that ran before twice for governor and got shot down? Texas can be a very conservative place. There's a lot of big money there, a lot of big oil money there, and they'll buy whatever seats they need to.
Yeah. So going into the new year, Dr. Warren, what is the message now? What is the message that we have to move forth? What is the marching orders do we need to look forward to?
Well, I think the first marching order was a restatement of what Thomas Jefferson said when he said, "Eternal vigilance is the price of freedom," and we have to pay attention to what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us don't pay attention. We don't read. We don't look. And I have that among some of my papers, and my national group is chairman of the all of the black papers in America. I got publishers that don't read, but they're complaining that they need business. So I don't know the answer. I think that one of the things we have to do is stop thinking as individuals and start thinking as a part of the collective. So that if they come for your neighbor, you know they've come for you too already, and you can step right out there and step up and help the neighbor.
So, with so much things changing and so much happening around the nation, it seems like we're starting off this year almost worse than we started off last year because so much has been done. We were considered in the world community as measles being eradicated. But now we have this leader, Secretary of Health, and that has literally turned it upside down to now they're going to declassify us as measles being gone and that it is an issue again in the United States.
Well, it is. It's going to continue to be. We're not doing anything about it as long as Congress doesn't act, which they could, and they just rubber stamp whatever's going on. This matter is going to continue until the people can vote folks out of office that are doing Trump's bidding and letting him get away with violating the law and stepping us back into being a constitutional democracy that people respect and adhere to.
Wow. And so here, let's move to local. We're here in San Diego. What's new and what do we have to look forward in San Diego? I know one of the biggest things everybody's been talking about, which is not, unless you go to Balboa Park, it's not a big deal, but now pay the park to go to the park.
I don't really think about the Balboa or the pay to park. San Diego has been moving for a very long time in the direction of frustrating drivers. We see all the streets where they done put those middle dividers in. They've knocked out a lane that was traffic and made it parking only on a number of streets. We've gone from 2 and 3 lanes to 1 lane in each direction. All of that is intended to frustrate people driving, just as the whole thing about the parking is. You don't have to go downtown. If you do, you could, take the trolley. And most of us don't. California is notorious for its single occupancy cars. And people rather pay the price than do something about it. And that's where we are, so that's what we're going to see more of.
So what are some of the big issues that you see happening this year in San Diego that are going to kind of change the atmosphere?
I don't see a lot changing the atmosphere. I mean, we've got 3 to 5 new congressional districts that we got to deal with. We got to bump Darrell Issa out in terms of East County because he's a crazy Republican. California has 52 congressional seats. 12 of them have been Republican. And we're trying to pick up as many. We need at least 5 more seats so that we can convert the House. And that doesn't have to work to the election because if enough people leave and the Democrats become the majority, then it's got to turn over. So I think that's one of the areas. We got a lot of new laws that went on the books, and so we need to pay attention to those laws because we will be impacted once they're on the books and they're out there. we can't say, oh, I didn't know,
Hmm.
because you had an opportunity to read and find out. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, let me go forth. Looking at the things that are taking place in San Diego, we just had the terrible group of rain this recently, and it looked like we almost were getting ready to have the same thing that happened before, and we saw the floods come back, but this time people took action. My question is that they took action so they wouldn't get flooded out, but what is the city doing that the people don't have to do that?
Well, obviously nothing, because the city drove by and looked at at what was happening, but it was the neighbors that got down in the water,
Hmm.
pulled up the grate that was blocking the drain, and let the water go, that reduced it, so that we didn't have another flood situation. It's the people that did that, and there's no excuse, because right after the last flood, you saw all kinds of work going on the storm drain system, crews cutting trees, moving trash in the whole bit. And so you would have thought that in an area that flooded so badly before,
Hmm.
they would have had boots on the ground to make sure that that was ready to take the water. They didn't do it.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, one of the things that was really sad is that even when they were reported, people were not. It was almost like, okay, we know what's happening, but we don't plan to move on it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why the community had to get out there and make it happen.
Well, ultimately, this is the mayor's fault. Okay,
Hmm.
we have moved from a weak mayor form of government where the city manager was in charge to a strong mayor form of government where the mayor is in charge.
Hmm.
And so ultimately, this falls on the mayor in terms of making sure these things are done. And I know he means well, but he's still got a lot of people in his administration who could care less,
Hmm.
and they're not going to work hard. They're going to work to preserve their jobs and whatever they're doing. They're not working to preserve the stick that we have.
And so, how do you see us moving forward? Because we're going to continue to have this until we actually find a solution.
I don't know, Brother Thompson, because the people of San Diego, they should be at City Hall whenever there is a hearing. We should be on top. We should be speaking. There's very few people who go down, and then we wait until after the fact to have a reaction. We
Hmm.
got 4 city council seats up, including District 4, Henry Foster. And, it looks like it's going to be a shoe-in, because even though you have a couple of people running, you don't see any demands being put on the incumbent sitting there.
Hmm.
He feels like he's got it made. So he and Monica, um, the uh, Senate seats held by the Secretary of State's daughter. So that's double influence over what happens in the city.
Hmm.
And it looks like we're just stuck. It's not going to be any different.
So, um, so if you were to say, what would be the action plan again in San Diego? I know key one would be vote. 2 would be get involved. 3, I think, would be stop allowing. I heard a statement that said holding people accountable should not be seen as a negative. And so, what I'm hearing you saying is that we need to hold more people accountable, not just because we're friends or we like them, but are you doing what we voted for you to do?
Well, we need to hold ourselves accountable first.
Hmm.
Okay, even as we do Black Men and Women United for 20-some years, uh, there are at least 100 people that have signed up at some point that we send notice to each week, and some of them open the email and that's it. And they got all kinds of excuses. They don't like me, they don't like you, they don't like the way we do business or whatever. But at the end of the day, people have to set aside that madness and decide to get involved so that we can all survive. And obviously, survival is not one of the items that this person is concerned about.
So, um, I want to go to some happier times that are coming up because it doesn't seem like, there's so much negativity that is taking place. Multiple issues that are coming out this month. Let's talk about the Martin Luther King issue that's coming out, and also some of the events that are coming out with the Martin Luther King.
Well, as you know, this is the 41st year that the Jackie Robinson YMCA will be holding this breakfast honoring Dr. King, expecting between 1,600 and 2,000 people to come out. Very proud to say again, Dr. Thompson, that you have been identified as one of the recipients of the Distinguished and Prestigious Award that they give each year. You and Reverend Wells in terms of the community. And so my concern is that people turn out, they want to sing We Shall Overcome and hold hands and rock back and forth. But at the same time, a lot of them, just for political reasons, a lot of them are not doing business in our community or with black businesses. But yet they're on the stage boasting about their love for Dr. King.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we have to wake up, pay attention, hold people accountable. And I have an agenda in mind to do a great deal of that.
And so, you being the keynote speaker this year at the Jackie Robinson YMCA breakfast, everybody says that school will be in session. Bring your notes. Let's get it on.
Well, they should come prepared because I believe that one of the first tasks of such an assignment is one of teaching, because you got a generation sitting there that wasn't even born, and they don't even know. Not only many of them don't know about Dr. King, but many of them have no idea about the struggle, and that's one of the reasons that we're putting the commemorative issue on every chair there with the timeline of Dr. King's life, his excerpts of his major speeches, and all those things that would give one insight into King the man, who, if he were living this week, he would have been 98 years old, 97 or 98. All right. And so, we've got all of these years between now and what happened on August 28th, 1963. It's kind of hard to believe because I was there through the whole thing. And here I am all these years later, one of the few remaining people that, touched a man, heard him face to face in a whole bit.
And so, I would think that, if King was alive here today, he would be greatly disappointed by all the works and all the life that was given. And it doesn't seem like we have literally moved one iota, but it seems like we're backtracking now.
Well, the history has shown us that for every time we move forward, it's followed by a knee-jerk reaction to pull us back. When we came, just giving a quick example, when we came through the Civil War and the North won, and we gave people amnesty and tried to reunite their country, what did we have come out of it? We had the first case of federalism, where Andrew Johnson, vice president, who had been, he wasn't even a tailor. He was one of those people who sewed buttons on suits for a living. He couldn't even make a suit. He could hardly read and write. He wasn't educated, but he was like the designated survivor.
Okay.
The party designated him to be vice president to Lincoln as a compromise. And then when Lincoln was assassinated, the idiot ends up in office. And so he started a series of compromises that were further reversed when Rutherford B. Hayes became president. And that was the birth of federalism as we begin to know it. But federalism, in a sense, we always said that the whole idea is for the federal government to only be there to help the states, but not to try to govern in lieu of the states. Okay, and Article 10 of the Constitution speaks to all powers not given to by this Constitution to the federal government under Article 1, that all those things are reserved to the states, and hence the welfare, the rejection of the Affordable Care Act by places in the South that needed it the most, because it was called Obamacare, and they were ignorant enough to think that that meant they shouldn't take it. And I've seen people turn down federal dollars, and the turning down of federal dollars was to maintain a state control, because the federal money came with the requirement of inclusion, and people didn't want that, okay? And so it's always the pushback. You know, when Thurgood Marshall died, the big pushback that was made was appointing Clarence Thomas, the idiot of idiots, to take the seat of one of the most distinguished jurors in the history of this country. I mean, Thurgood Marshall was so good. We just want to remember him for Brown versus Board, but he was Solicitor General, and he argued before the federal courts some 31 cases that he won. These were 31 cases that involved legal issues with the federal government. So he wasn't just Brown versus Board of Education.
Yeah.
And so today we need to be motivated. I'm so excited in San Diego. We have a cadre of young black judges, a sharp group. It's about 12 or 13 of them. And some of them look so young you wouldn't even be able to think they were on the bench. I've seen some of the brothers sitting on the bench with dreads, not ashamed of the culture and who they are, And so all of these things are significant, and I'm hoping that with our gala, which is honoring one of our judges, that we will be able to get a number of the judges to come out and be seen, so that people can know what we have going, because Judge Rod Shelton has just been elected as the assistant presiding judge. First time a African-American jurist has held that position, and he will be the first black presiding judge over the San Diego County court system in a couple of years. So we have a lot of good things that are happening, Dr. Thompson, but at the same time, when no one is looking, we have a lot of people who are trying to pull back and circumvent. And unfortunately, some of our worst enemies in this 2026 calendar year are not the people that don't look like us, but they're the people that look like us, to the extent that we now have to tell people that all skin is not kin, because of the number of folks, for their own nefarious reasons, would not like to see us succeed collectively.
And I think that's one of the sad things about it, is that while we're trying to go up the ladder, we're asking everybody to be our friend and come support me because I look like you, I speak like you, and everything else. But it appears that the minute that they get into position, and this is something I've noticed over the years, that when they get into position, all of a sudden we as African American people always want to be fair to all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to date, and maybe I'm wrong, Dr. Warren, but to date, I have not seen other people get in position and not say, well, let me bring up Susie and Billy and everybody else.
They look out for their own. If you don't believe that, all you have to do is look at the county of San Diego and look at the Filipino community and look at how many Filipinos we have that are in positions, and because people brought their relatives on board.
Yeah. And, like I said, I'm not saying that, it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that we don't do the same thing.
Well, not only we don't, even Obama didn't when he was president. He could have made such a difference. How is it that Biden can have a black woman for his press secretary, and the black president couldn't go near having a black press secretary through 2 terms? And
Exactly.
Not that there was a matter of color, but the inference was that nobody was qualified. And then that's not true, because there were many And there are many African Americans who are qualified to hold any position that whites are able to get. Matter of fact, most are even more qualified because they got to be more than just qualified to get in the door in the first place.
And so, we're consistently seeing that as a narrative. I just was recently talking to someone, and they're experiencing the same thing, that they're not getting the kickback from people that don't look like them. They're mainly getting the kickback for people that looks exactly like them. And they will wait a minute. Well, we were all a part of the same come up. It was like, let's do it together. But now that you have arrived, you've forgotten how you got there.
Well, if you talk about having relationships and getting benefits, I believe that we will always do better with a white person in a position to do business with us, because at some point they have a sense of guilt and don't want to be identified as being racist and different. The blacks, on the other hand, take the position, I know you, I come from you, and I ain't worried about what you say, so no, I'm not going to do it. And that's unfortunate. I mean, we got the conflicts here. Just look at our organizations in San Diego. The Urban League, the NAACP, the BAPAC, those organizations were strong. I remember under Frank Jordan, we worked closely with the NAACP. They had people in the office. We took complaints. We helped people with housing, food, employment, lawsuits, and all those kind of things. This NAACP for San Diego County is in receivership. Does absolutely nothing. Nobody knows who the people are there. If you call for help, they refer you to North County NAACP. And so it's ridiculous. And the Urban League was one of the groups in San Diego in the 1950s that was started by people like Dr. Kimbrough, Mr. Ragsdale Sr., James Johnson, as they fought restrictive covenants. And today, years ago, the Urban League had offices on Market Street right in the community. Today, the Urban League is over at the University in Fairmont in a high-rise. And the big priority is financial literacy and helping people buy houses. Okay? And very content with what they do in their own bubble. And so that's
And I think that, one of the things about it is really getting out and knowing what each organization is doing, should be doing, and how we can then get involved with them. I was heavily involved with the NAACP, and when it was powerful, when it was moving forward, they wanted to stop. You know what I'm saying? And when it went back to being status quo, everybody's happy to say it's there, but there's no power. There's no. At one point, they were referring people away to other people organization versus in taking on the hard conversations. But I do have hope. There are a lot of young African Americans that are starting to step up and getting involved in working with the organizations and coming out with some new organizations. And I just feel like moving forward, knowing who's doing what, and I think that's going to be the key.
Well, the problem, Dr. Thompson, is you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you've been. And that's why the inscription over the archives in Washington, D.C. says past is prologue. Okay, so we got people who rise to positions, and once they get in position, they take the position that they know everything. One of my favorite examples is the San Diego County Black Chamber. My late wife and I created the Black Chamber in San Diego. And tried to educate people to what a chamber is and what one does and how it functions because of our own experiences. Hers as executive vice president of the D.C. Chamber of Commerce, at the same time that as a senior law student, I was volunteering at Howard in a small business development center, helping people set up their businesses and decide whether they would be a limited partnership, a LLC, corporations, we did all those things without any grants, without any money other than our own. We rented an office next to the Voice and Viewpoint. We paid the rent. We made membership $75. And if you paid your membership, we were your resource. I helped you if you wanted to make a bid. I showed you how. I wrote for you many times. I never charged a member anything for helping them with their business in any way that I could. And we got a group now that's got all this money downtown. I think they have the GPS to get to Southeast, even though they've been given by the city, the BID, the Business Improvement District for the area, which has never done what it was supposed to do in the first place. The Business Improvement District was an outgrowth of Brooke Huffman, who used to own Huffman Barbecue, bringing together businesses like the little merchants on the corner, because these people were not doing anything or interacting with the community. Mm-hmm. And we got them involved. We got jobs for some people in terms of some of their establishments, because all they were doing was selling stuff to us and taking the money out. Mm-hmm. And so, but this group today, they're not interested in what happened yesterday. Mm-hmm. They don't see a connection other than what they want to do. And the tragedy is that there is an element of folks that represent an old guard. I'm just going to call it that because it's both black and white. An old guard that will rush to pump up some of these newcomers because they know that they don't know what they're doing and they don't know what happened before. And the old guard can get good press looking like they are supporting a new generation of activity when all they're doing is just helping, the hamster in the treadmill going in a circle. They just turning the wheel for them, and they don't even know they're hamsters. So this is a issue that we have to first start listening. Mm-hmm. If we listen, then we can begin to go someplace.
And that's going to be one of the biggest things, I think, moving into 2026 is educating ourselves and be willing to have tough conversations and be in uncomfortable positions so that we can grow. I think that many times we take our toys and go home, and we have to stay long enough to learn as much as we can. You know what I'm saying? Good, bad, or indifferent. I always tell people that if you run away at the sign of the bark, you will never know what the dog was barking about. You know what I'm saying? I want to say it again. If you run away from the first sound of the bark, you run away, you never know what the dog was barking about. He could have been barking out, telling you, look out behind you. You about ready to run into something, and you ran away and ran right where he was trying to clue you not to go to. So I just want y'all to don't always, when you hear the bark, sometimes we fear the bite, not realizing that the bark is not always about the bite. Many times the bark is a warning sign, either to stay away or watch out.
Well, I'm looking at the board and I see where LaShawn Hicks is telling us into each thing there's a time in the season, which is from Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, verses 1 through 10. And we certainly need to know what seasons we're in. And most of us just go through our seasons without any idea that they're changing. And that we're in different seasons. So I think that right now is a time to be still, to do the observation, to see where we are, where is it that we would like to go in 2026. Mm-hmm. Not just individually, but where would we like to go collectively? Mm-hmm. Because you see, the success that we had from the civil rights movement was the result of two factors that we don't use today. The first one was prayer, because prayer was always at the forefront of everything that Dr. King did and all of the marches and protests did. That was the first element. Mm-hmm. So prayer got to be important. The second thing is that coming out of the Jim Crow era, everybody was concerned about the collective. It wasn't a question of me and mine. It was always about us. If you go back to when Jesse Owens won the Olympics and embarrassed Hitler, we were excited for him because he represented all of us. That was the key in terms of it. And today we're acting like whatever we do individually has no connection to the collective. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the oldest tricks of the enemy. As one person once said, once the greatest trick that the devil ever got away with was convincing people that he didn't exist. And so instead of us looking collectively at who we are, We are worried about DEI, which was only another substitute for the war against affirmative action. And we know that we always have to be twice as good and better than whoever we were competing against because that was just a requirement.
Mm-hmm.
So now what are we doing? We've dropped our guards. We're complaining that they're banning books. Well, it doesn't matter. We got churches. They got space. We can have libraries. We can have workshops and sessions. We can restore what we had even here as little as maybe 30 years ago when we had the rites of passage for young men. And we had Saturday schools in our community. Somali community had Saturday schools. Black community had Saturday schools. The Jewish people always had Saturday schools for their kids.
And still do.
Yeah, because they go to school, that's where they learn the Torah.
Yeah. And Chinese people and Japanese people still have Saturday school.
Everybody has Saturday school, and then we didn't turn Saturday into another recess period.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things about it is that, and you know, where we receive most of our training and most of our skill set was in the house of God. We used the church. The church was almost open 7 days a week, and we were there at least 6 of those 7 days, if not all 7 days. We did homework there. We learned crafts there, so much. And so we also have to then challenge our faith-based community to begin to continue to open their doors. Now, there's some people that are doing that.
Well, the problem, Dr. Thompson, 25 years ago here, and I was here with the paper, there was a whole different thing with churches. Like the homeless, we had Bethel AME open their auxiliary with beds there and someone to watch the people at night so that people could get off the street, okay? We had pastors who got together and marched blocking these neighborhood stores from selling drug paraphernalia and challenging the gangs and meeting with them. We had all these things happen. Well, we had attrition. People got old, people died, people moved away, new pastors came, a new generation of members in the churches that grew as opposed to the ones that are still dying on the vine. And so the ones that are dying, they're not trying to reach out and do anything different. The ones that are growing, they're growing based on telling people what they want to hear. Excuse me.
Bless you.
And not based on what the challenges are.
Yeah.
Okay? And so where people did read before, social media has become the substitute. I don't know what to call it. It's a substitute drug because we've got people, young people that are doing great things and they're achieving, and then we have a lot of folks at all ages that are doing absolutely nothing but walking around with their cell phone and up to their face.
Yeah. I would say that social media and phones in general have become a consistent distraction and an attention getter that literally steals the time away from valuable things that we could be doing because we're always looking to be entertained. And I think that that's one of the things that we're finding in our society today is people are still looking to be entertained versus saying that entertainment is one thing, but it can't be that all the time.
Well, this is true. And I'd like to remind us that, people are still, if newspapers were dead, Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon, would not have bought the Washington Post. Okay? And if you watch CNN and all these channels, the 90% of what they bring to you, if it's not their people, is from the newspapers like the New York Times or the Washington Post. And so they're still reading papers because there's a dearth of journalism. And we are struggling for our survival as the black press. This month we enter our 199th year of existence, going back to 1827 when Rushworm and them said, let us tell our own story and plead our own case.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of us are no longer pleading our case or telling our story. We are trying to assimilate to stay in the game. And so I think that people respect that which is done to help them. And the Voice and Viewpoint has been very blessed to have a unparalleled degree of community support going into this 66th year of existence. And I'm excited about the extent to which we have a relationship with people. I would encourage you, if you didn't see it, that people should still try to find it's online, but you can't download it. The paper that came out the first week, last week, carried some 10 pages of pictures of the people that we loved and lost in 2025. And we do this every year because there's so many people in our community that we're used to seeing. We might not even know their names, but we know we used to see them in the grocery store or on the streets or wherever, and then we don't see them anymore. And sometimes it's because they've made the transition and they're in the paper. And so we ask you to avail yourself of that. We ask you to be supportive of the paper. We give papers to our churches every week, but we ask if you're buying a paper, please just take one. We're still the only paper in town that's 50 cents. If you try to buy a copy of the UT, it's probably $2.75 for a single copy during the week. If you try to buy the Wall Street Journal, I think that's $7 or $8, even though it's online. But we are not changing prices. And then we're losing stands as people decide they don't want our papers near them anymore and on the streets, and they're making us pull them. And yeah, we're online. Yes, we do give papers to our churches and to our senior centers and to our schools, as we're going to be doing. We still do those things. But you can help us by being supportive. You can help us by asking the people that you do business with why they don't do business with us. Because if they do business with us, then we can hire people. We can hire more people that we have in the community working. And so these are things we want to share. GOD Radio, Dr. Thompson and them doing a phenomenal job every day, gospel winning awards nationally. But they remind you of the scripture that says that the prophet is without honor in his own home, because they are more appreciated on a global scale everywhere else than right here in San Diego. And that's the problem we both have. Have 184 countries that read the Voice and Viewpoint. I'm still trying to figure out why in 2025, one of the biggest countries reading our paper outside of the U.S., Canada, and the United Kingdom was Norway.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But, I mean, every day we're tracking them. We're also continuing something that we started. We are now placing a salute to African nations every month until we salute all of those in terms of their anniversary and their independence. Nobody else is doing that.
Yeah.
So, pick up, read up, catch up.
And with that being said, Dr. Warren, just want to remind everybody on February 13th is going to be the wonderful gala that is being produced this year. The keynote speaker is Freeway Rick Ross. When I tell you this gala is going to be second to none, we wanted to get your tickets early. Now, Dr. Warren said now you can go online to Eventbrite and get your tickets. They're going to add that surcharge. Or you could do it the old-fashioned way and come on over to the Voice and Viewpoint, save that surcharge, and get your tickets right there at the office.
But it's not going to be a big difference, because after I made that statement, the staff reminded me that we have to charge tax, and the tax comes up close to what the surcharge is. The difference is if you go online, you get to make your meal placement at the time that you do it. If you come to the office, we'll take the payment and we'll take the meal placement and turn it in. But you can do it all in one place if you want to. Okay. And you still have time to get it done, because, every year people wait till the last week and it's sold out by then. And we don't add, once it's sold out, we don't add tables and chairs and all that foolishness. It is what it is.
Well, with that being said, this is From the Desk of the Editor with Dr. John Warren. Dr. Warren, thank you so much. I think we're going on 6 years or 7 years now of doing this every single week on Wednesday. We're going to encourage everybody, tell a friend, let's get in, let's have dialogue. If you have some topics that you would like to discuss, please share with us in advance so that we can bring it right here. And if you get on, especially if you're on social media, put your questions in the feed and we will do our best to answer it. Shout out to Minister Paul Parker. He said this interview was very informative, although I live in the city of Long Beach with similar systemic issues. So, Dr. Warren, we're hearing and feeding back. Thank you, Sister Gus, for saying that she loves the voice and viewpoint. And thanks everybody for tuning in again from the desk of the editor
And
with Dr. John
Charlotte,
Warner.
Gus, would you please be in touch with me? I need to follow up with you. And you know our number at the office, 619-266-2233. Haven't forgotten you in terms of who you are or your late husband, and we still love you. Thank you.
And that's how we do it. We are a community station right here on GODRadio1.com.